Yeah. Good luck on
And we're recording.
yeah.
I don't know how we're going to intro this one, but here we are.
First of all, our name, who we are. You get to go for it, Dave. You love it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I haven't been here in quite a while. So
Just do your classic.
I'm happy to be
Welcome.
back with you guys.
Hey
Yeah.
guys, this is the
Happy to be
Greenville
back.
Transitions podcast. It's called Clean Breakthrough. I'm Lucas. That's Cole with the beard. And for those of you who haven't who've been with us here lately, that other guy is David. David McNeese.
With the
back.
mustache.
He back, baby. He back.
I'm back.
And well, I mean, talk about what doesn't come back. Our topic for today is
Yeah.
is death. We're talking about death.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fair to say that was on all of our minds this morning as we logged on here. As we're coming out of Father's Day, I think myself and Cole went through another Father's Day without our fathers. Lucas went through a weekend spending time at a funeral with a friend for his friend's father. So it was just heavy on all of our minds, and it seemed like a good place to start a video because it's also something that a lot of the guys we work with have experienced and are like grieving, mourning, has caused some sort of depression or anxiety for them that needs to be worked through. So seemed like an appropriate topic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that theme of grief is like very present in recovery, especially early recovery, because you are having to say goodbye to so many things that you used to do, or even like a direction in life you thought was going to happen, and it's all gotten turned upside down. So
yeah,
grief is very prevalent. Yeah.
I would honestly say that was one of the main reasons I started my recovery journey. I mean, it sucks to say that, but it also, I think, saved my life. Was my father passing is what like kind of got that ball rolling. I started having the thoughts after that of like, gosh, I got to get my life together. Like now it's only me. I'm here with my mom and 3 sisters. I'm the man of the family, if you will, came up. But I would say the biggest thing for me was just I was able to see clearly how I'd showed up for the past 2 months before he passed. And like he was in the ICU, he was in and out of hospitals and breathing treatments, and I was like nodding out. Like I would go to the hospital to see him and I couldn't even be present because I was like nodding out, drooling on myself so high. I couldn't be there for my mom. I couldn't be there for my sisters emotionally. I was just like completely checked out. And I was using drugs to do that. I was using drugs and alcohol to just kind of go to a different place mentally, a mental vacation. But being able to look back at that and just question, like, what am I doing? What? Like, this is wild. I've got to change some things here. So as much as it can hurt and suck that like my dad's not around anymore, I'm grateful, and I think that he would be grateful too, that his passing had great meaning for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like something really good came out of that. To where now I'm a father. This was my first Father's Day, and like what a cool thing to be able to celebrate that with a sweet little nugget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a way of like honoring his legacy, you know, which I think is a really powerful thing. And we talk about that. A lot of time people start their recovery journeys for external reasons. Somebody's making them go to treatment, somebody's making them go to the meeting or whatever. And for yours, like, you know, that being like a pretty big like external catalyst on top of like an intervention basically with your mom and like really putting boundaries down. I mean, it's pretty special to be able to like trace that back, which you probably, I guess, couldn't even maybe in the moment. Like, was it hard to see that in a moment? Of like how impactful that was going to be?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I realized the weight of that as it was going down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what surprised me about Father's Day is this was my second one without my dad. So I had my dad for 30. I'm 40 now, so I guess like 38 years, which is like substantially longer than you had your dad, David. And I have a lot of gratitude for that. And he, for the last 11 years of his life, he was battling stage 4 cancer. So his initial diagnosis, it was expected he was only going to live, if he had no treatment, he would live only a year. And then based on how he responded to treatment would prolong his life. So I have a lot of gratitude to like the fact that he pursued treatment, like was very tough, like was on death's door several times, but was able to hang on long enough to see the birth of 6 grandkids, um, to be able to for them to remember him, for my kids to be able to remember him because they were respectively 7 and 5 when he passed away. And so that it's coming, and then even when it happens, like it's still like such a surprise, like the weight of it. You don't there's like the logical knowledge of a passing is going to happen and it's inevitable for all of us. And then there's the actual like emotional, spiritual experience of it. And what Father's Day's done for me 2 different times now is like being a dad myself. But this being like 2 in a row here where like I haven't had him and it's just been very heavy on my mind. I understood logically the first one of like, that's going to kind of suck. That's going to be tough, going through Father's Day. So I got that. And I remember feeling really heavy last year and like actually like broke down crying at one point, like kind of by myself, which is kind of a big deal for me because I don't like break down that often. But then yesterday, given that was Father's Day yesterday, I was just really surprised by like how funky I felt. And I didn't have the same type of breakdown. It was just a different experience. They just caught me off guard. And so it is interesting, just what you think and then like what actually happens. That's a real powerful part of it. So that's why like death is like on the forefront of my mind this morning as well.
Yeah.
Death, death, death. Lots of it.
All right. All right. Tell about your weekend, Lucas, and your experience with death. Go
on. One of my very good friends' father passed away a couple of weeks ago, but the funeral was this weekend, and so I was thinking a lot about it. And then in line with father's passing, so I spent most of the day, just trying to be supportive to my friend and be there and show up. And then at the same time, and his dad was an older man and got cancer, and it happened pretty quickly. I want to say like maybe a month and a half from diagnosis to leaving. But my wife also had somebody that she grew up with that passed away that was like a young mom. I think she had just had her 3rd child like in the past year, and same thing, got cancer, and kind of like in 3 months was gone, like totally healthy, normal. I want to say like early 30s mother. And so I was thinking about that too of I think for me, just thinking about like the inevitability of death, the fear around death, but then just the reality that it comes for us all at some point, and it's probably never like the best time or the most convenient time, because I think there is no best or convenient time, and like it just kind of doesn't matter. Like it's just always going to be a really sad thing, whether someone's old or young, and just affect us a lot. So, and then as far as like tying into recovery goes, my grandma died when I was like 16, and I was really, really close with her. And similar to David, what you were saying, I just used it as like a license to do whatever I wanted to do. And I was like very distraught over it for sure. But then I feel like the classic addict alcoholic, never let a good crisis go to waste. Part of me was like, all right, like nobody can really say anything to me because I'm grieving. And so just messed up out of my mind, going to the funeral like that, going to the wake like that, making it all about me, only thinking about me and how this all affects me so much. And literally not until like many years later, I was 16. I think it was this year that I thought about it at 36 because someone brought up death in a meeting. It was actually my friend Joe, whose father just passed away, kind of made that the topic because he was struggling with it. And it wasn't until then that I was like, like my mom was grieving. She had just lost her mom. My aunts were grieving. They had just lost their mom. I had like 10 or 11 other cousins who had all just lost their grandma. My dad had just lost his mother-in-law. My granddad had just lost his wife. Just like thinking about like, God, this is just like not all about me, but like an addiction. I feel like everything is just all about me and what I can get out of a situation and how I can use this to my advantage and how I can kind of suck all the like sympathy and attention and praise out of a room, rather than I'm just grateful for recovery because just kind of pushing me to take a step back and think about other people and think about how it affects them and think about how I can show up for them. And that's what I try to do today of just like going to my friend's funeral this weekend. And am I going to make some like major impact? No, I just need to like stand in the background and, be there. And then when he has a chance, be able to like talk to him and just kind of be present without like making it about me. And just be like as helpful as I can. So I just think the difference between how I've handled death in addiction versus recovery is very different. And I don't take credit for that myself. That's like all stuff that was shown to me and taught to me. But then also trying to get better at it because of the inevitability of it that like, I don't know when I'm going to go. I don't know when my wife is going to go. I don't know when my kids are going to go. My parents are going to go. My friends are going to go. Like, I just have no idea. I'm trying to make the best of the time that I have with them here because that's like the number one regret that I've felt and that I see other people feel is like, I wish I did more. I wish I did this. I didn't know we had such little time. If I had known, I would have done all this stuff different. So I try to be cognizant of that to eliminate those regrets by how I live today, which is kind of like what you were saying, Cole, of just like being in the present. I'll shut up with that.
It's good stuff. Good stuff, Lucas. Go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, I do wonder if like everyone feels that to some degree. I would imagine of like, I wish I would have done X when you get to the end, especially if you're at a place where like my dad was, where you have time to prepare, the end is coming. And he pulled us aside and he was like, man, I wish that I would have been more present. Like I thought my whole life was around providing and being a provider. And I was gone all the time working to like give you a better life. But then I wonder if that flipped, if he would have been like, man, I wish I were able to provide a little more. Or, if he were to a place where he was around all the time, but wasn't putting food on the table. And, I don't know. I bet you anyone could get to the end and think, I could have done this differently.
Yeah, I think that along with death is like an inevitability for all of us. Is like having to do the work to just accept like this is how I showed up, and I think that's actually a good thing on some weird way to feel that discomfort within you. I wish I had maybe provided more. I wish I had been more present, whatever we're talking about. I think that's actually a good thing because I think that's our if we take it, I think that can be like a humility thing of like checking ourselves, and I think where we have to be careful is that we take that and then we let it fester into shame, fester into like guilt. But I think it's okay to be self-reflective and to be like, am I living life the right way, or is there something else I should be doing or missing? I think probably the key distinguisher between it being something that's like really like shameful versus being something that could be actually like really grounding and help you to find your way better is if you talk about it or not. Like, do you talk to your people about it? Do you ask like your wife, your spouse? Do you talk to your friends? Do you talk to your sponsor, your therapist, whoever? Do you talk about these things as they come up, or do you just keep pushing it away? keep pushing it down, keep pushing it down. And then you get to the end and you never really like tried to solve it with others. You just try to solve it on your own. I think that is like a recipe for having like a lot of shame at the end of your days, you know? Um, but what do I know? You know, like I haven't got there yet. Like that's just me spitballing there, hoping to have some peace at the end of knowing like I did the best I could and like I found ways to redirect throughout my life, you know?
Yeah. Tying recovery into this topic. I mean, the best point that I could possibly make with this topic and with death and recovery is that what Lucas just said, you know, before recovery, I would use death as an excuse to be selfish, think about how much I'm hurting. I would use it as an excuse to use, to avoid, to isolate. And now it's my best reminder to continue in a life of recovery. And it's my excuse to like try to do better, to try to like stay on this path of recovery, to show up for my family, to show up for my friends. And that's, you know, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Other than like, it sucks to have people pass away, but it is nice to have that reminder of like, all right, you know, an end will come, and who do I want to be when it gets here?
Yeah, it can be a reckoning to shake you awake.
Yeah. Like, do
You
I
know?
want to be the guy that's drooling on himself in the corner of a hospital room while someone else is sick? Or do I want to be the guy that's like present and asking, hey, what do you need? What can I get you? How could I serve you right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think death also, or at least for me, it has honestly been like a wake up call or like a portal into like spirituality on some level. Like when it's of top of mind, I'm definitely like trying to understand how things work, fit together. There's a lot of like kind of questioning that's going on, and there's also a lot of observing like when people have shown up for me, or when things just kind of occur in my life in a kind of a synchronicitous type of way. Um, so yeah, I think it can be like a portal to like a wake up call, and to be like intensely present. I mean, if you think about it, sometimes like at a funeral, you or like a celebration of life, you very often like remember it very clearly. Your brain is on fire, like pay attention. Like this is intense. Like pay attention right now. And I think that for those of us who continue to grieve like throughout our lives, people that we've lost, I think those moments come up and it's like a hey, pay attention to what's going on around you. And that can feel very heavy. That can feel really scary. It can be sad. It can bring up emotions you maybe don't want to experience, but it also can be really good too, you know? And I think also how it ties in recovery is like recovery is about learning to live life, like to learn to live life and not run away from it. And this is an inevitability for everybody to experience it personally and to also have it happen to us. How do you live life on life's terms, as they talk about? And so I think that's why it's something that has to be addressed, has to be discussed, and start to like kind of get your mind around it to some degree. And I think probably the best way to get your mind around it is realize you don't know exactly what it's going to be like. Just like I said, it's my second Father's Day without my dad. If you had asked me a week ago, how would I feel? I would have assumed probably okay. Second one, dad's been gone for a couple years, got this planned, got that planned, whatever. I'll probably okay. But then my actual experience wasn't that. I felt like in a funk. So that's just taking life as it comes, you know? It wasn't anything I did. It's just what I felt as a human. So, no, I'm rambling on there a little bit, but yeah.
I think death is I think death is all just I think so many human things like boil down to fear. And then I think fear, the more I think about it, I've been thinking about this lately, is like the number one fear is, I want to say, fear of the unknown. It's like the number one thing that I'm afraid of in some way, is just not knowing how things are going to be. And I think with death of like my loved ones, it's like, you know, fear of like, will I be able to get along without them? Will I be able to be fine on a Father's Day without my father, or a Mother's Day without my mother, or a birthday of someone, you know, and they're not there, that like takes me out of today in the present. And then also the like shame, the remorse, the guilt, the regret of what I should have, could have done with people who have already passed in my life, kind of taking me out of the present into the past. Um, so it's interesting how death is like such a pull either way, of like the fear of losing the ones I love and the fear of me dying myself, and then also the regret of the people who have died. Kind of making this like circle around the present. Yet I always seem to be on the outside perimeter of that rather than inside it, of just like here right now. And I've seen it exemplified so well being in recovery, of like older people that I've known in Shmei that have gotten diagnosed with like cancer. And then you just see them just like continue to show up and say like, hey, it's my time. It's my time. And yeah, I don't want to go, but like, it sounds like it's time to go, and just like live like, with like the principles of recovery, like right up to the moment, you know, and just continue to like do for others and think of others and make the best of the time they have. It's just been really inspiring to see by people, that like acceptance of death. And because like it's easy for me to be accepting of death right now, knowing that most likely it's not going to be tomorrow. But if you told me it was tomorrow, I wouldn't be so accepting. You know, I hope that I could get there, but I'd have to jump through some hoops to figure out how the hell I'm going to be accepting of that. So I feel like when it's your time, that's like the true test, especially when you get like a month or two heads up on that it's coming. But all of it circling around like fear of the unknown and being in the present.
Well, I do think, you know, people who are engaged in some type of spiritual community practice like that, whether it's shmei or just their own like kind of learning and talking about it with people, church, whatever, I do think they have like a little bit of an ability, or maybe like a leg up, to be able to be really present in it, because they've learned to like surrender themselves. You know, when you think about like 12-step principles, I mean, step one is admitting you're powerless, right? If you've learned to like surrender that, like, okay, I'm powerless over alcohol, I'm powerless over substances, that mechanic is already in there. Like, there are just forces outside of myself. Hence step two, power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, but there are forces outside of myself that I just cannot control, you know. And I love like, I love the simplicity and the clarity of this like serenity prayer and what it offers, you know, and like the wisdom to know the difference. Like, it's just, I mean, whether you're in recovery or not, like that applies to all of us. And I really love and appreciate that. I was reading a book this morning, and for whatever reason in my life, like when I'm thinking about death a lot or whatever, like something, it will show up later, right? Like this is the second time in the last few months I've had like a day where I was like grieving my dad, and then within like, you know, 30 minutes to 12 hours, I'm reading something in a book about death that directly ties to it. But this book was concluding, and it was talking a lot about, the whole book is about like being mindful. It's called The Power of Now, and it's about being in the moment and being present. And it talks about death. That's how the book ends. And it's talking about how, like, once you've learned to like surrender your ego and let go of that, you have like surrendered that one last part of you that you're hanging on to. And so then you receive life as it comes, all the way to the end of your like physical days. And that is something that you have to like do over and over and over and over again. And I think people who are in long-term sobriety have learned that. Like, they've learned to just release that over and over and over again. And it can become a thing to which they can practice a lot of acceptance right up to the end of their days, or at least appear to, and then be honest if they are or are not, which is super cool. You know, so I think it's important we address it from both sides. So like, addiction can cause you to absolutely just drool on yourself in a corner in a moment you need to be paying attention. But it also can lead to you really being able to be intensely present to the end of your days too.
Yeah. Side quest on that was The Power of Now. Great book. Read it years ago. Is it the first book, or is A New Earth first?
The Power Now is the first book, I believe.
And then A New Earth.
And then I think A New
comes
Earth is
second.
after that. Mm-hmm.
Both
Yeah.
really good. Are you going to read A New Earth?
Yeah, that guy is actually it's right back here next to Millennium Falcon, right? Oh God, I'm going the wrong way. It's right there. That little red thing is
Nice.
it. So I'm gonna read it. The next book I'm gonna read though, before I get to that one, is Untethered Soul. I think is what it is. Untethered Souls. Because I've heard it's very similar concepts, and it's like really like a little bit easier probably to read than Power Now,
Yeah.
but like a lot of the same concepts. So that's the next one I'm gonna read during like my morning like reading time, because I try to like read something a little more like uh well just deep or not. Like I usually like try to read for fun in the evening before I go to bed is what I like to do, and then read something like more educational or pushes me to get in the morning to get my day started. But yeah, New Earth, I believe it's the second one, but I could be wrong on that.
Cole, I'm really proud of you. Just ripping step 1 and 2 right there, just flawlessly in a conversation, dude. You just tied it right in, and you said them from memory. I would guess maybe they're written in front of you, but
They're not in front of me, dude. Dude, I go to a Shmay Shmay meeting once a year, and I have an unofficial official home group. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
no,
Just a
I
little
know,
bit.
dude. It's just it's cool to see, dude. It was making me think also about just like how ego creeps in, like just everywhere all the time. And that a lot of times when someone would pass away and people would be like saying nice things about them and all this stuff, it makes me think about this quote that says, people have really nice things to say about you. You just have to die first. And B, it makes me think about having that like knee jerk reaction of like, well, I wonder what people would say about me. What would people say about me? What would they say I did? Would they think that I was great? Would they miss me? Like just getting into all that. And I didn't really think about it until maybe yesterday or maybe later Saturday night, that I didn't think about that all day on Saturday at that funeral. I just thought about what I would want to be thinking about, which is like all the awesome things about this man's funeral I was at, all the nice stories people told, all the things that he did, all that, without like immediately flipping it in my mind to like, but what about me? What would they say at my funeral? And then I got home and my wife was not in the same spot because that friend had died. So she was like, what would people say about me? I was like, oh, perfect. Someone had to bring it back up. And not like I'm enlightened and like not going to have that thought anymore. It was just like the first time in my life that I could remember someone else dying and not in my mind making it about me and what it would look like for my life and what my kids say about me and all this stuff. But yeah, then came home and the wife turned it on herself. So then I got to say, it's not all about you, Logan. Okay. This woman passed away and it's not about you.
I've got to chime in here with a little side quest.
Yeah.
But it speaks to like something happening, and like everyone says all of these nice things, but this is a thought I had yesterday on Father's Day. As you like get onto social media, and every mom that I know is posting a picture of their husband with the kid and like, best daddy ever. And I'm like, girls, we all know that your husband did something that pissed you off so bad yesterday morning or this same morning, and now you're making this post. I know I did. I had my wife red in the face.
Oh, Dave. What'd you do, dude?
Real bad.
What,
I don't know.
What
I
did
like
you do?
didn't do some chores or something that I said I was going to knock out. But then lo and behold, a few hours later, it's like a highlight reel of like, I'm the best dad in the world.
Dude, I had it too. It was like
tripped me out.
getting pissed at me on and off all day. And I just kept saying like, on Father's Day, on Father's Day, you treat me this way. This is the way you do me.
Yeah.
Well, Lucas, you also said something really funny last week. What was that when he was talking to us, David? And he said, like, well, happy Father's Day to me. Like, that's,
It was after she broke the van door. The
oh,
gas,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
She broke
gas
the
door on the van.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets on that call and he's like, well, I'm having a terrible day. And My wife broke the gas cover on the van. So happy Father's Day to me. And David, of course, is like
$750 fix. Happy Father's Day to me.
yeah. And David was like, it's Father's Day? Like, didn't
Yeah.
even know, of course.
Wait, when? This Sunday? Wow. I better get some chores done in preparation for that.
Yeah. Well,
But,
it
you know-
is funny talking about the social media. Social media is like it is a cesspool for ego, dude. Like it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It is a cesspool for ego. Also, I think about like the God, probably my this is a weird thing to say. Probably the funeral I enjoyed the most. So hear me out on this. And what I mean by that is the one that I felt the most like present, emotional. I don't know, it was from my granddad who was like in his 80s and passed away. I think it's like 2021. But this guy was like the definition of no ego. Like he was just like a good old boy who every day got on, put on the same like white t-shirt, jeans, and he wouldn't even wear boots. He'd wear like the black Reeboks. You know what I mean? Like, and just go either work with his sons painting houses, or he would be in the yard like working on like project my grandma wanted him to do. And dude, his funeral was awesome because it was really like sad and sweet. But dude, so many of the grandkids wanted to get up and talk. And so like several grandkids got up and like shared stories and talked about him. And I was one of them, but some of us were some of them more like quiet or like more emotionally stoic ones, or just what you wouldn't expect it. So to see people like being so like eager on some level or willing to get up and like share about him spoke a lot to like how he lived his life, you know? And I don't know personally the guy who passed away over the week or the funeral you went to over the weekend, but I just from hearing stories and knowing our friend, I can almost imagine it'd be like the same vibe with a guy like that based on like what I've heard about him. Or people are just like, this was a guy who did like live life in the present, and there wasn't any like ego games or anything like that. And people be eager to like share and talk and celebrate, you know.
It was the definition of that.
Yeah.
His daughter got up and was telling these stories of, she was like, I remember when I was a kid, my dad just like gave away our minivan to a family that needed it. And it really cut the seriousness, because she was like, I mean, it was a piece of shit van. Like no hubcaps, no anything, really like falling apart, but he just gave it to this family.
Yeah.
And then there was like some guy from like that was like displaced from a hurricane, and their dad just let him like live with his young family for like a year.
Yeah.
And then there was a single mom with kids, and like that family that I'm talking about, my friend's family, I think there were 5 kids.
Yeah.
And then the parents, and they let a single mom with kids come stay in their house or on their property for like, again, like a year.
Yeah.
But you could also tell that like probably nobody knew each other's stories, because he didn't tell anybody or talk. Like he just did it for all the right reasons, because it was like the right thing to do, and he could be of service and could help. So I could just kind of see all these like conversations happening around me of like all these wonderful things that he did, that nobody got to know all of it except for what it was to them until he passed away, where they had a reason to come up and just celebrate him and share all these stories. Which, if there was like anything that I've seen in a funeral similar to what you said about your granddad, it's like, that's what I would want.
Yeah.
I would want nobody to know the nice things that I do, because I shut the hell up about them and just do them because it's the right thing. And then if anything in the celebration of my life, it'd just be a celebration of nice service-based things that I did for people and people that I impacted by thinking of them rather than myself.
Yeah. What's that tattoo on your arm say? Don't you have one? It's like it's a saying about that. Oh, he's flexing for us. Yeah. What does that say again? Wow.
It's my family motto, and it's Latin. It's esse quam videre, and it means to be rather than to seem.
Yeah.
And I try to live by that too, of like just be the thing, and rather than trying to seem like it, which ties in perfectly with what we were just saying about social media, which I do think is a cesspool, but more than that, I just think is just not real. because when I'm online yesterday, I'm seeing all these people that I know, because life is life, and I know they have like struggles and are like, he's the worst dad. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. He doesn't help enough with the kids, blah, blah, blah. And then Father's Day rolls around and it's, oh, truly our rock, the best father I could have ever dreamed for. I'm like, Darlene, you
I
were
love
not
it,
saying
dude.
that yesterday. Okay. If you go back on your post a week ago, you were like, my good for nothing baby daddy, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's just funny how we like play this game. But if that's the danger of social media, now I'm really getting on a side quest, but it's like, if I compare my insights and like my actual reality to what other people is like not their reality and just what they want people to think to be rather than to seem, then like that gets so dicey. Because if they had to put their real life out there, I would be like, oh, thank God it's not just me. But when everyone puts their other stuff, I'm like, it's just me. I'm the only one struggling out here. I'm the only one who has like troubles in his marriage, troubles with my kids, troubles with my family, work, whatever. Because everyone else just posts, oh, troubles? Never heard of them. My life's great. Crushing it at my job. My wife loves me. I couldn't be a better dad. I couldn't be a better son. I couldn't be a better businessman. Like whatever the thing is. So just so dangerous, dude. If people take it too serious and like believe it at face value that that's what's really going on. Because every mom I know posted Happy Father's Day to my wonderful blah, blah, blah husband. And every one of those moms that I know someday in the past week had complaints, that were not in line with that. But that's the day that you kind of got to say it.
Even my sister, she made a post for her husband. My brother-in-law was like, you're our rock, best dad ever. And then she commented on Morgan's post about me and was like, best dad ever. And I was like, you can't do that. No.
Which one?
You broke
Which
the
one?
rules.
There's only one best. Who is it?
Yeah, I think another problem that happens with social media part of it is like a real connection happening. Like you have to, I think you don't have to, I guess, but I would recommend perhaps like to have like real conversation with people where you are expressing like the full like degree of like emotions and frustrations and love that does happen in a relationship. But if you are just only putting like a curated picture out there like that becomes very hard. And I think the danger lies is where people get most of their connection from that. Like it'd be fine if that was just like a little side quest you did every now and then, and you knew what you were signing up for. This is very curated. This is not the truth. This is just like a little sliver of their life that they're presenting. But I still like have friends that I talk to like real about like frustrations with my wife or her frustrations with me or this really great time we had together or whatever, just full life. I think that's probably more what we need to be striving for. So I think it's just like over reliance on all that like social media marketing. If you really get down to it, because it's just marketing. You're presenting like what you want people to see.
A highlight reel, dude. A
Highlight reel. Yeah.
Well, I hate to do this, but I've got to strike out of here this morning. But next week we could continue our new topic, talking about electronics and process addictions and how they are going to be the new path moving forward and kicking substance use disorder to the curb.
Look at that segue. No, I thought that was a good convo on a pretty like emotional and like very. And I will say like just if you're listening to this and you are in the throes of like I don't understand why I lost this person or I'm having a really hard time like wrapping my mind around that, I would say you're not alone with that, and I don't want that to be misconstrued at all. Not that I really think it would be that we're sitting here saying that somebody dies and you live in a present and it's okay. Like that's not what we're saying whatsoever. Like that questioning and that pain and sorrow is real, and all three of us have felt that in a lot of different ways. So yeah, just want to say that at the very end.
Very good.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.